Hello and welcome to a live leadership video. And this video is it's the first time I actually go live on YouTube, so feels a bit strange. I have done live sessions. I use a platform called Insight Timer for live sessions that I run, meditations, things like that. But this time, it's the first time I'm going live on YouTube. There's a few things I wanted to talk about. It's the current state of humanity, and we look at how the world has kind of come to a point where there's so much conflict, so much hatred, so much bitterness, so much separation. And this comes out of a sense of either threat, fear, or a sense of superiority. So one is coming from feeling better than another. It could be another group, another group which is associated with other nationality, religion, or different ways of thinking, perspective, belief systems, whatever it is. National boundaries that we have generated, constructed through the imagination of the human mind. So much of it is about something that we've created that doesn't actually really exist in nature. And that's what's fascinating. We've actually started believing in these man-made realities and started kind of separating ourselves. Either that or some superficial separation, which may have something to do with the skin tones or how we look or whatever it is. Either something very superficial or imaginary. And we've used that to create vast amounts of separation to the point where we can wage war against others, cause harm to other people, dehumanize. And this is happening right now. It's unbelievable. We have come so far in terms of technology, but in terms of humanity, we seem to have gone backwards or not very much advanced at all. And there have been people who have found better ways of living, philosophers, sages, saints, messengers of all kinds from all places, coming and saying, hey, we are all part of the same human family. Let's live together in peace. Let's live in presence. Let's align ourselves with reality, with truth, and step away from anything that kind of separates us, creates a separation, a sense of separation, whatever that may be. But it seems that we don't listen, or we don't understand, or we don't practice, or we don't. And the human ego has been reigning supreme today. And despite the many people who have come and out of their words that is pointing towards the truth, religions were born, some spiritual traditions, but then these religions actually have created more separation than unity. They've created in-group, out-group, instead of bringing a sense of presence, of the oneness of life, of unity, of divine presence. They've actually taken us away because either they've been misinterpreted or been used in the service of the ego, in the service of, I could say, evil. And now that's a loaded word because, it's something that I will probably spend some time talking about in another video. But essentially, all of humanity thinks there's some evil out there, so we've got to go and fight it. But all spiritual traditions are actually pointing to the fact that evil is within us, and we need to notice that within us and rise above it through self-awareness, presence. and reconnection with the infinite source of life, which we can refer to as the divine or God or the source. But essentially, it is not about some dogma or some story, which is how many have used to separate themselves from others and create a kind of a cult-like uh, either society, group, or sometimes nations. So, what have we done? What have we done with ourselves, with humanity? We're all part of it, and none of us are immune to the wrath of the human mind. The human mind can trick us to separate ourselves, to uh, judge, judge others, judge our neighbors, our families, our friends, but also to the point where we create an image. And of course, we're always creating the image of others in our minds and making them good and evil, and falling for the illusion of that mental image, which has nothing to do with reality. And of course, you have so many arguments. The human mind will have so many arguments to justify the labels they put on individuals, on groups, on nations, on religions, on whatever, just to a way of dehumanizing. So we need to really have a look at what's going on and how we can come out of it. And there are ways to come out of it. One is, of course, looking within, looking at the darkness within us and recognizing for what it is. It's the darkness that lives in all of humanity. We're all instances of humanity, and so we all possess the same traits. We all can hate, we all can love, and we can all choose which way to go. In fact, the natural state of all of us is love and peace. And you will only recognize that when you still your mind. And you realize when you still your mind, when you transcend thought, you experience a natural sense of ease and peace, which was not available to you when you were judging yourself, judging situations, judging others, whether it's your partner or someone on the other side of the world that you have no idea who they are, but you've kind of decided to put a label on them. On your neighbors, or whoever it is, that we kind of construct a mental image and believe that that mental image is the truth. So we can all step out of that insanity and that delusion and return to the present moment, which is where reality is. And as much as esoteric this may sound to many of you, is when you pay attention to a simple breath, a sensation of a breath, you withdraw energy from that delusion, that thinking mind that has broken down reality into pieces, and thinking that imagined reality in the mind is the truth. We step out of that. We return to the truth by returning to our own breath. And the mind will, of course, would want to resist this practice because it's like, I don't want to do that. That's boring. I've got better things to do. So the mind will always try to take us away from presence into imagination, memories, which have no reality. So the mind would want to keep us in delusion, but we can always gently return ourselves back home. We can always gently return ourselves back home. And it takes only one conscious breath to do that, just one conscious breath to gently bring ourselves back home to the present moment. And this practice you carry with you everywhere. You can carry with you everywhere because you have your breath with you everywhere you go. Even when you lose your phone, lose your possessions, you lose everything, you still have your breath, and you can always return to the breath, which I normally refer to as returning home. to the present moment through the breath. Your body also you carry with you everywhere. You can always gently return your attention to the breath and your body. And of course, the mind will again say, well, why do that? What's the point of that? It's meaningless. I'm not learning anything. I'm not doing anything. So the mind will always resist this practice. But it is the practice that gives you access to truth at this moment. Because when you realize that this sensing of your breath and bodily sensations at this moment is closer to reality than any thought, any memory, any imagined thing, any belief system, any thought can ever be. That every thought is always one step away from reality, and the sensing of this moment through sensing your breathing, your bodily sensations, even sounds, just noticing this moment without adding more content, without judgment, without adding stories about this moment, because then it becomes thought again. They take you away from reality. You actually notice this moment and you return to reality, return to presence. And that is the idea of the practice of presencing or mindfulness. It's different words for it, but essentially it's an ancient practice that many wise people who came to this world were trying to guide us back to these practices. Remembrance through awareness, through presence. So why are we not taught this at schools? Why is this not becoming a tool that we learn? We learn about maths and science and languages and history and great stuff that we need, important. But to be present, to actually use our own breathing to anchor ourselves in the present moment, we don't learn that in a traditional education system. So why is that? Something so essential, so important, we're not learning in our education system. But it's not too late. I mean, this is what can save humanity from destroying itself, and destroying its own species and the planet, which is what it's doing. It's actually, humans are their own worst enemy. We don't have any other threats. We don't have aliens coming in and trying to invade our planet. We don't have vicious animals, attacking homes and communities. We don't have external threats. We are humanity's worst enemy. This is the most insane thing. We have created enemies out of our own species. Now, if we can't recognize this insanity, which lives in the human mind, and that's why I'm giving you these practical tools like presencing, using your breathing to step out of that mind, because the human mind, including my mind, is like none of us are immune, is ultimately dysfunctional. It's a powerful tool. It can do extraordinary things, can solve extraordinary problems, very intelligent. But equally, it has become insane in many ways. It's become so delusional. And it's, of course, the gift of imagination has also led to the wrath of imagination by mistaking imagination for reality, mistaking imagination for truth, instead of actually being with truth, which is what it is happening right now, being with what is, and embracing the moment, which is not what the mind likes to do. The mind loves to always resist and oppose reality. No, I want something more, I want something different. This is not good enough. The mind is always constantly seeking, avoiding, seeking, avoiding, seeking, avoiding. Now, this is for all of our minds. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. It has nothing to do with gender, age, religion, culture. It has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that if you're a human being, if you're a Homo sapien, you will experience these things. This is our common human experience, that the mind is constantly seeking, never arriving, wants more, wants more and more and more, and wants to avoid things it doesn't like, wants to seek pleasure, wants to avoid pain. It's constantly creating so much suffering for itself and others around, other minds, by doing that. Instead of just, hey, let's realign ourselves with what is, which is the reality, what is, right? We can have mental concepts of reality. We have physics and chemistry that describes how physical reality works. Of course, that's science, absolutely. But even that's continuously changing. There are models, mental models of reality that we have. But I'm talking about the actual reality of this moment, actually being present with what is right now, which is the breath. The sensation of the breath is right now. You can't deny it. You ask anybody, it doesn't matter what they think, what belief system they have, it doesn't matter, because the reality of this moment is undeniable. So when you sense, the consciousness that notices, that sees, that experiences is undeniable. Everything else is just a story, just a concept. Everything else in the mind is just a concept. It's just a perspective. It's just an opinion. It's a model, and a mental model of reality that is always one step away from reality. The best it can be. It can be as, even if it's the most accurate model or scientific theory, it's still not reality itself. All I'm asking you is also spend some time in reality by being present with reality and letting go of those judgments of reality, the mental noise. Notice that mental noise arises. It just happens, it just happens. But instead, actually spend some time being with your breathing, being with your body. This is a practice I avoided for many years. I knew about it. Of course, I learned about these practices many years ago. I was in my teen years, but I resisted this practice well into my late 30s, because my mind was always tricking me, saying, this is boring, this is wasted time, I have more important things to do. You got to do this, you got to learn this, you got to do this, you got to, a whole myriad of excuses to take me, away from presence, from reality, from this moment. Now, if you just start thinking about what I'm saying, again, you're not going to experience what I'm trying to point you to. Not just me, but many, 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 many people who came and went, saying, hey, come back home to the present moment. Here are some tools. Now, we learned about those tools, we believed in those tools, we talked about those tools, we even taught those tools, but we never actually practiced it ourselves. I am guilty of that too. I even taught people about it, but I never did it myself. That's the irony. So I was forced to do it. Eventually, I was forced to do some of these practices by taking, 10 days off, going into a silent meditation retreat, giving away my phone, my computer, which I'm always carrying with me everywhere I go, because I want to write and I want to read and I want to research, all of that, giving it all away. And no writing, no reading, no speaking to anybody, no looking at anybody, just sitting and paying attention to the breath and body for 10 days. This is called a Vipassana retreat. And I did that a few months before COVID. And that really forced me into practicing being aware with my breathing and with my body. And the whole time my mind was saying, why are you here? This is ridiculous. You're wasting so much time. What was wrong with people who advised about this or thought this was a good idea? Someone told me, oh, you're gonna love it. And my mind was actually going crazy. It was like, I can't wait to go back and tell those people off. Why am I here? Why am I letting my emails pile up, my work pile up? So this mind just continuously was chattering away for the first 6 days. For the first 6 days. And on the sixth day, I realized the mind will just not shut up. It will continuously complain and complain and complain, endlessly complain. And at that moment, I just relinquished control. I said, mind, just keep talking. It's fine. I know that's what you're going to do. You're going to keep complaining. Just do what you want to do. I'm just going to sit here and just pay attention to my breathing. And at that moment, suddenly there was a separation between me and the mind. And that was the most extraordinary experience for me, because it wasn't something I was expecting or looking forward to, or we weren't even told about that. But this identification from the human mind, from this mind, this mental chatter that is taking place, this identification, dissociation, and it's not that you're going to lose your mind. Your mind's going to be there for you, but you recognize it's an entity there, conditioned by its environment. It has likes and dislikes. It's constantly seeking, avoiding. It's got a life of its own, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're not. I realize I don't need to fight it. I don't need to avoid it. I don't need to, because it's part of reality. The condition of the human mind is also part of humanity. The content of the human mind is, of course, all delusional thoughts and beliefs and perspectives. That there's no real reality in the actual content of the mind, but the fact that the mind is there doing its thing, that's undeniable. You can't say, no, the mind doesn't do that. Of course it is. Of course, until it's not. Because when you do relinquish control of the mind and you just let it be that little noisy thing in the background, it's not going to bother you so much. Thoughts, even emotions, you feel surges of emotions, intense emotions, uncomfortable emotions, whatever, they come and go. Thoughts come and go. All phenomena comes and goes, and you realize everything is coming and going. There's birth and death happening all the time in every manner. The cycles of birth and death taking place continuously. So all we've got to do is make peace with reality. When you make peace with reality, you experience peace within you. And when you experience peace within you, you realize that is your natural state when you stop resisting reality. So there are a lot of things we need to learn, practice, to bring a sense of ease, peace, and love within our hearts, to live in peace with ourselves, with others around us, and to create peace in the world. You cannot fight your way to peace. You can only create peace by making peace with yourself, with others around you, with reality, with truth, making peace with truth. And so there are ways to live a healthy, happy life. There are ways not to struggle with life, not to constantly struggle with yourself, with what is happening. To relinquish resistance, to work with reality, not against it. The human mind wants to work against reality, not with it. And that's why we have anxiety and stress. Always trying to seek, want, avoid, fear this, fear that, judge this, judge that, constantly. The human mind, if you let it loose and let it run the show, it will drag you down into the fire. It will drag down others with you into the fire and the environment. It's insane, the human mind. But the good news is, when you embrace the mind and stop fighting it, it will also be gentle on you. It will mirror that gentleness you have on it. When you're gentle with the mind will be gentle with you. It will just mirror how you are with it. In fact, the whole of reality is how you are with it. If you're peaceful with reality, if you offer peace, it will mirror peace back. If you fight it, it will fight you back. Everything is just cause and effect. It's cause and effect. It's natural laws of existence. In physics, we have that. You push against something, it pushes you back. It's Newton's laws. Equal force. It's the same with life. Make peace with reality. Reality will bring you peace. It's as simple as that. So this is just what I wanted to share in this very first video on YouTube. I hope some things I shared resonates with you. If it doesn't, please feel free to comment. Regardless if it works, if it makes sense, comment. If it doesn't make sense, comment. Love to hear your perspectives on this. But please, unless you practice presence by just being aware, just take a minute, being aware of your breathing, being aware of your body, and then tune in with yourself. Notice, ask yourself, am I resisting anything at this moment? What am I resisting? What am I not aligning with? What am I not embracing? Is it a thought? Is it an emotion? Is it an experience? Is it something that's happened? Essentially, everything is either a thought or an emotion. Everything else happens, and then you judge it, you oppose it, or whatever. So notice that. Just bring a sense of gentle awareness to what is happening. Be kind to your human experiences, and continuously notice and cultivate this sense of noticing presence. Continuously notice being with reality, aligning with reality continuously. And just check in how that's impacting the quality of your life, the quality of your relationships, the quality of your well-being, your quality of life, as you continuously align yourself with the present moment, realign yourself with reality of this moment. Make peace with reality continuously. Just see what happens in your life. Feel free to comment. I'm grateful for you, grateful for your presence. And if you find these videos useful, please subscribe to our channel. I know this sounds so cliche now, but essentially, when you subscribe and more videos come, it will come into your feed and you'll be able to access them more readily. So thank you again for your time, for your presence, and I look forward to reconnecting again soon. Bye for now.